Hello YouTube fans. For something different, normally my videos involve my scale modeling hobby and modifications to various model kits. However, I did treat myself, thanks to the generosity and gift cards that a number of friends gave me for my birthday, to a Barnes and Noble NOOK e-reader. It's a great handy device for reading electronic books and PDFs. They do sell a number of covers for it, ranging in price, up to absurd. But none of them allow you to customize it. So I was looking for a way to create a custom cover, and after doing all the legwork, I thought I'd share what I found and the process of how to make your own leather cover for your Barnes and Noble NOOK. The easiest part of this is Tandy Leather produces a pre-stitched kit, and basically it's already sewn together, and it already has the snap on it for closure, and it's intended for use with a regular book. But I'm going to show you how to modify this and then decorate it for use with your own NOOK, and this way you can customize it. This is available at any Tandy Leather store, or if you go to tandyleatherfactory.com, and I'll post that in the description for this video. The part number for the book cover is 4181-00, and it costs $20 unless you belong to their club membership. So it's not bad. Additionally, you will need a few other items. You will need, obviously, your NOOK for just a small part of this. We're going to need a blank DVD case, which, as you can see, is about the size of the NOOK. And what we're going to do with the blank DVD case is, after we mark the area inside the leather that the NOOK is going to take up, we don't want to damage the NOOK, so we're just going to use the blank plastic CD case, because if it gets pounded on or something like that, it's not going to get hurt, where the NOOK screen would get damaged. Additionally, you're going to need a lead pencil that has the lead removed, so you just have a point, and a middle ruler, and optionally some form of stamp if you want to give an even flat surface. And finally, the die if you want to ink any coloring on this. To give you an idea of what you're getting into, it really is not a difficult process. You're essentially going to be drawing on the leather without the lead in the pencil. I'm a big Doctor Who fan, so I've decided to put the seal of Rassilon on mine and a few other odds and ends. Basically, what I did is I just printed out what I wanted off my printer on the computer. I'm going to bring it over here and I'm going to trace it down onto the leather, and I'm going to show you how to do that in just a moment. And lastly, you'll need a clear sealer for on top of it, which you can just put on with a cheap 50-cent sponge brush from Michaels or Joann Fabric. All in all, this is really not an expensive project, considering that NOOK covers go anywhere from $35 to $70. For the leather kit was the leather kit pre-stitched with everything in it, just ready for you to decorate, was $20. The stamp was $8. The finish and the black dye that I'm going to use were $5 a piece. So it came out to like $37 for everything you need to do to make your own custom NOOK cover, which is right on par, if not cheaper, than buying one of Barnes and Noble's covers, and you have the luxury of being able to customize it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the leather cover, and one thing I want to point out to you is this is just some scrap leather I'm showing you here. When you get the leather cover, it's actually this lighter tone. It's actually this lighter flesh tone pigment, and all I did to darken it to this nice tan was I laid it out in the sun for 2 days. Leather is literally the flesh of an animal, and just like our skin, it will tan, except that since it's no longer alive, it's not going to heal and disappear. So basically, I laid this flat on a table on my deck, left it out on 2 bright sunny days, took it in if I thought it was going to rain, and instead of having this light flesh tone, it made it this nice natural tan. And in the process, you can see all these curves. It really brought out the texture and the pigment in the natural leather. So that was a nice effect, and it was cheap. All I had to do was stick it outside and let it lay there for 2 days. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we can see that the cover is meant to close like this and snap. One of the nice things is that the opposing snap here is actually covered by what you would normally slip a regular front book cover in, so it's not going to scratch your screen or the frame of your Nook. Conversely, on the other side of this, the tab that has the opposing snap is stitched in, so we don't have to worry about that damaging your Nook either. And next we're just going to take the Nook, slide it into place, and yes, the cover is taller than the Nook, and it does look a bit too big, and that's fine, because I actually wanted this little bit, this little 1/4 inch edge around the top, and that'll hold the stitching. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we need to find on the Nook, and this is probably the only time in this entire process that you will use your actual Nook. After this, we're going to be using the CD case. But the Nook does have a screen, so what you want to do is feel with your finger to the edge of the screen, and I can feel it right there, and just make a little mark with the pencil. And once again, the lead's removed from the pencil, so I'm actually just making a little indent in the leather. Okay. Secondly, you're going to do the same thing along the bottom edge, because we want to be able to use the touch screen. And the bezel doesn't go in on the touchscreen, so mark that there as well. And that's it. That's the last time that we're going to use our Nook with this particular project. Until it's complete, of course. And pull out the Nook and set it way out of the way. And next what we're going to do is take our roller and line it up, and this will tell us how far in we need to go to have full access to the screen on the Nook. So, and after marking this, the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to insert a hobby cutting mat into where you normally place the book cover, or into where we'll place the Nook in the future. And this will keep me from cutting the whole way through the leather, because we don't want to cut through the cover. We just want to make an opening big enough that we'll be able to read our Nook. And try and square it up as much as possible. And you can see there's a light cut in the leather there. One thing we can do to make the leather slightly easier to cut is we can moisten it with a bit of water. And you see that will darken the leather, but that's temporary. It will lighten when it comes back up. And I actually intend to stain the inside of this anyway, so. And it may take a few passes. Again, be careful with the X-Acto knife. And there you can see we have our cut. And then we're going to come down to the bottom and do the same. Okay. And then all we have to do is connect the dots along the side. And I'm just applying a little bit of water with my finger to make the leather a little easier to cut. Now later on it won't be this susceptible to cutting because after we apply the dye and do our decorating, it'll be substantially darker, and once we apply the top coat, it'll add the hardness to the leather and the resilience that we'll look for something that won't be easily damaged, in addition to protecting our Nook much better. Now we have most of our cuts in here. I just have to go back over a few areas. And again, when you cut this, you want to make sure you have something firm underneath here. It doesn't have to be a cutting mat. It could be a piece of wood, it could be a piece of aluminum or metal, but you do want something under here so you're not cutting the whole way through the cover. Also, you want to use a very sharp, fresh X-Acto knife blade. And there's our missing piece. And there's the bevel for our Nook. Okay, and after a little bit of work and recharging the dead battery, we can see that we now have our edge cut to hold the Nook in place. This is a 1 1/4 inch frame the whole way around, and again, we did just use a coin to round the corners. Also, using the metal roller, I cut out small holes here that you can charge the Nook from the bottom, and again one at the top where you can tap the power setting button. Okay, so that's going to do it for the cutting. You can do whatever you like over here. You could do a slash across the top. That way you could have a little notepad here if you wish. You could make slots to hold multiple business cards or credit cards. But once again, remember, when you are cutting this piece, you don't want to cut the whole way through to the other side. So you want to slide something like a cutting mat in there so that you're actually only cutting the top portion. Okay? Now this is going to take us to the next step.